It goes as a fact, and it is a general saying that as a product manager, you should love the problem statement that you're solving and should be passionate about building your product. So now I have a two-part questions to this above statement. First part being, is it actually possible to understand the problem of a user, the pain points of a user, the way user feels, like by just interacting with the user or just reading the data, whatever one gets? Is it actually possible to understand the pain point to a level that the user is experiencing? And second part is, if that's possible, what are some of the best approaches that should be looked by everyone to understand that problem statement as closely as possible?
Okay. So really, really interesting question. Okay. So because when I started as a product owner, the one thing that I can never do is that read a document. Okay. I'm dyslexic. And the two things that I can never do is read and write. Okay. So biggest challenge I faced when I moved into product management was to read a lot of, read a bunch of pages and understand the problem. As you said, the problem statement comes as a BRD, the business requirement document in my case. Okay. So first thing I have to read that complete document, which is like some 60, 70 pages, and then understand every problem by problem. And the very important thing is any document that is 70 pages does not start with the empty document. It starts with the template. There'll be another document and they'll actually prepare the document based on this document. So the language that is put in is very hard to understand because they'll actually read a line there and then try to sync their problems that they have and then they'll modify that particular line. Okay. So it's very important that you completely understand the BRD. So for that, we actually set up a lot of calls, and then even before we actually do anything else, first thing is we actually read the document, then we set up calls with the business folks, and then we try to understand that problem. And then if there is an existing product, we'll actually see the product and see what the problem is. Or if there's a new problem, we'll actually talk to people who done the BRD, or we'll actually do a market research of what are the products that are available and how they are solving that particular problem. So first thing is understanding the problem. Second thing is doing a market research of what are products exist that solves the same problem. The third thing is you go to the users, and this is where my user research comes in and plays a very handy role. The very important thing is user will not directly say something that they want. So the term in UX research for that is whatever the user says, not whatever the user feels. So what I do is I do a lot of iterative calls. So for example, initially I'll talk to like 10 users and then get their feedback. And then once you start talking to a lot of people, a kind of pattern forms on the flow of their speech or on the flow of the process that they use or what they've actually been doing for all this long. So when that happens, you kind of try to find a pattern. And from that pattern, like you have to jot down your understanding as a requirement or the solution for the problem statement that you have, then take this solution to the business people and then validate it again. So like this process is an interesting flow of chain of events where first you talk to the business, understand the problem, talk to the users, understand their pain points, then design a solution to that, then go to the business again, then validate whether this will work, and then come back, talk to the engineering team, whether engineering team will be able to do that in the timeline that the business is given, or whether is there a better way. One thing I started doing is I started involving everybody in the first phase itself. Even before we go into development, I wanted to get everybody's buy-in so that when we go into the production, it is the best product ever built. So what happens is when all the teams actually are giving everything that they have. For example, one thing is we started involving the engineering team because they know the future of the technology. Like, as I said, I was not very good at technology because I don't come from a technology background. So I actually validated with the engineering leaders and then the architect leaders, product architecture leaders, and then try to get the best solution or the best technology for that particular problem or product we're building, and then pitch that to the business that this is what we can do. and then this is the timeline it would take, and this is why we want this to be built in this platform or this technology, because this is the future and this will be scalable and stuff like that. So that happens, and any problem, finding solution to any problem, I would say is iterative process. There's no one solution for any problem. So once you have a solution, you try to play the devil's advocate in that particular problem statement or the solution, and then make that as better as possible.